there, folks. I'm Stuart Wellington of the Flophouse Podcast, and welcome to another Flophouse Mini. I am one of the members of the Flophouse, and my co-hosts are...
Me, Dan McCoy.
And myself, Elliott Kalin, author of Joke Farming, How to Write Comedy and Other Nonsense on store shelves now. I have a bit of a cold, which is why I sound, as always, sexier.
Yeah. Alex, can you just jack up Elliott's levels to make him sound less like he has a sexy cold?
I mean, I can do it
Put the
myself.
helium filter on.
This is me now. Yeah.
Do one of them Alvin and the Chipmunks things to it? Okay. So,
Guys, an Alvin and the Chipmunks would make more sense than an Alvin and Thelonious Monks, which is a different order. It's less about speeding up the sound and more about questioning what music is.
Yeah. Is it a thing you put in your ears, or is it something you devour like a carnivorous creature?
Although I will say the Alvin and Thelonious Monks version of All I Want for Christmas Is My Two Front Teeth, worth listening to.
Okay. I thought you were about to say that it's worth less. And I'm like, come on, Elliott, that's harsh even for you.
I would never say that, never.
So here at the Flophouse, we normally watch a bad movie and talk about it. But here on a Flophouse Mini, we are doing our own thing, which is AKA whatever Stuart wants to do. And today I have my two friends, and they are trapped here with me.
I would love to paint a word picture for the audience that Stuart has what might be described as an impish grin on his face. There's a certain mischievous quality to him that worries me greatly.
Dan is gripping the desk that we're sitting at with a intensity that I am worried is going to fracture the material he's holding.
Yeah,
so,
I'm kind of worried Dan is wasting money right now on the whole chair because he's only using the edge.
So just to give a little bit of preamble here, a few weeks ago, maybe a month, Dan and I had the lucky opportunity to go out to dinner with our good friend, podcaster, author, comedian, actor, John Hodgman. And John invited us out to dinner with his friend, novelist George R.R. Martin. Now, if you're a regular listener of the show, that you'll know that this is a huge deal for at least Stuart, because Stuart is an enormous Song of Ice and Fire fan. And I needed to have my emotional support Dan there so I could hold on to him in case I was about to faint.
Yeah, thanks for animalizing me in this scenario.
I will mention,
Dan,
Elliott was not invited. So they could say, hey, Elliott, you were 3,000 miles away at the time. And I can say, what about the New York to LA bullet train that I could have taken in just several hours?
No, that's full of killers. You don't want to get on that train.
That's why I don't take it. Good point, yeah.
Obviously, if Elliott was in town, he wouldn't have been able to go out because it was well past his bedtime.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
If it
it's too bad
was
because I'm such a
earlier,
big fan of George R. R. Martin's work with Jerry Lewis as Martin and Lewis.
Oh, that's great.
Unfortunately, they never finished their routines.
So this was a really big deal for me, and we went out to a very nice dinner, and George was a sweetie, and I got to sit next to him, and I did feel exactly like a Make-A-Wish kid the whole time.
It's the closest I think I've ever seen, Stuart, to a picture of a grown child next to Santa Claus. Just the delight on your face in the picture I saw, yeah.
Yes, it was lovely, and I made a point of not asking anything about the Song of Ice and Fire books, spin-offs, et cetera, et cetera.
You only told him how great you loved the end of the series, of the TV series.
It was all Beauty and the Beast talk. That was all.
It was all wild cards, yeah.
The thing that I really wanted to talk about, and which is going to be the subject of today's mini, is his involvement in the writing of the background for the video game Elden Ring. And because Elden Ring also has been is being developed into a movie by writer-director Alex Garland, who even flew all the way out to Japan to meet with series developer Hidetaka Miyazaki to plan an Elden Ring movie, which I will say I've had, mixed feelings toward the work of Alex Garland, and I feel like it is an interesting choice, but hey, he's got to follow his passions. I thought, why not give my two best buddies a glimpse into something that I'm passionate about and give them a little bit of a heads up for a movie that will maybe come out sometime?
Okay.
Aren't you guys excited? Are you guys excited to step into the lands between with me?
Sure.
I'm excited to find out something about Elden Ring, which I know exists. I've never played it. All I know is it sounds to me like an old ring.
These are words I've heard.
Like it's an elderly ring.
So you haven't played Elden Ring.
Like
and you
a
don't really know
old ring.
Well, it's kind of like that. So you have no experience with Elden Ring. Now, Elden Ring is produced by a company that makes, and it's kind of a spiritual.
Wait, is Elden Ring Mist?
No.
Okay, then no,
Is
I
Elden
don't know
Ring
Elden
one of
Ring.
the rings that Sonic the Hedgehog collects? Because then I would be familiar
If
with
Sonic
it.
the Hedgehog collected the Elden Ring and became Elden Lord, I would be very impressed and
Wait,
probably
is-
get.
That's what I say. Probably get what?
I'd probably get deeper involved in my Sonic fan fiction. But go on.
Yeah. So Sonic is not in it, or Sonic is not pregnant in it.
No, he's neither. Although
Okay.
there is some pregnancy in it. So
What about Echo the Dolphin?
Pregnant with possibilities.
Does Echo
So
the Dolphin
you
show
guys
up?
are listing a lot of video games, but
Yeah.
actually Elden Ring is kind of part
What
of
about
the Dark Souls.
does it feature either Toe Jam or Earl or both?
In a way, yes. So Elden Ring is part of the Dark Souls universe. Are you guys
Is
familiar
there
with
any
the
clay?
Dark
Is there any
Souls
clay
games?
fighting? Is there any clay fighting in Elden Ring?
I'm also glad that Elliot's only listing games from like the Sega Genesis from like a 6-month window.
That's about the last point at which I was familiar with a lot of video games.
How many? What is the Rage Primal in the game?
Yeah.
Dark
Yes.
Souls.
So Dark Souls.
So it's
What
part
is
of the
Dark
Dark
Souls?
Souls franchise. Are you familiar? Now, Dark Souls is a
I
very
played
popular.
Dead Cells, which sort of sounds like Dark Souls.
Now, Dead Cells is
I
a
read-
roguelite.
Now I read Nikolai Gogol's classic novel Dead Souls, a kind of not quite satire but picaresque comedy about the Russian landowners of the 19th century. Is that what it's about?
Well, I think, Elliot, you're talking about the book that inspired the hit song by what is it, New Order, or was it Joy Division? Joy Division, Dead Souls, which was then covered famously in the Crow soundtrack by Trent Reznor.
By the way, for the listeners, we're experimenting with something new called podcast edging, where we just
We're never going to get to where we're
I
going.
was like, you guys, this is going to be a long one. You're like, okay, that's great, and then you're helping me make it longer.
Yeah, that was
when
the
are they
thing,
going to
like,
get to the fireworks factory?
I was like, I hope this will be short. And Stuart's like, I got a bunch of stuff in this one. I'm like, oh no. And now we're the ones slowing it down.
Unfortunately,
How
once
it
you
happens.
get me naming 90s console video games, that's when there's a problem. Yeah.
Okay, so Elden Ring is kind of part of the Dark Souls universe, which are a series of video
One
role-playing
last question:
games.
Is that related to the dark universe of movie titles, of which there was one?
Yes. Are you talking about the Mummy? And
There's
the
one
Mummy,
official one. I feel like they like
I thought
had a couple
Dracula
of.
Untold.
Dracula
that was
Untold
kind
was
of
kind of
a
like a hidden pilot
soft
launch that did
Yeah.
not take. Yeah.
Yeah. Failure launch, also part of it.
Also part of the dark universe. Because
So-
it was a romance between Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein. Yeah.
So the Dark
I mean,
Souls
the
games.
doctor, not the monster. Dr. Frankenstein
Jesus
and the Bride of
Christ.
Frankenstein, Elizabeth. Anyway, it continues to.
So
It
the
was a
Dark Souls
prequel
games.
before they made the monster. Stu, continue.
So the Dark Souls games are famously difficult. They're role-playing games. They have like a semi-open world. They're somewhat they're not entirely linear, and they don't give you a lot of direction. A lot of the information, like the background of the lore, you have to learn through like reading item descriptions
Sounds
and finding
fun.
things in game.
I see why they're popular.
There are games that kind of reward you for like exploring and diving deep and like dying over and over again, because over time you'll get better at it.
So actually, you
Unlike
may,
the world where you just everything gets worse over time.
I'm shaking my
And
head.
when you
'cause this
die
is
the
a-
one time, that's it. You don't
This is
get better.
exactly the sort of video game I hate. A big sprawling world. We have to read a lot of stuff and explore. You don't quite know what you're
I've
supposed
thing
to
that's
do.
kind
as
of
I get older, I
fascinating.
really
You
like
die.
video games that are side scrollers where there's such limits on what your actions
Yes.
are that it's very clear and you don't have to use your brain except to like time villain movements. You know,
But the thing that's kind of fascinating about it is there are also games where you don't really need to pay attention to the lore. You can just like make yourself the strongest guy and go bash things with a giant club, and you'll still get a satisfying experience out of it. But if you want to learn the lore, you have to do a lot of work in game, or you have to track down like 6-hour-long YouTube videos by very confident nerds, or you can listen to a short podcast like this one. There's also an Elden Ring manga that I'm not entirely familiar with, but my understanding is it's like a weird parody joke comic.
Okay,
Which is also
interesting.
very funny that this big, sprawling, serious role-playing game is supported by a weird goof comic. Okay.
now I like it.
So what is Elden Ring? Elden Ring is an open world video role-playing game.
I just want to
where
mention
you,
that Stuart's been talking for a while now, and then he got to, so what is Elden Ring? Which was, I had hoped that question had been answered already.
It's a role-playing game where you it's action adventure, you fight big bosses, you kill dudes, you get stronger over time, with the eventual goal of becoming Elden Lord. To give you guys an
what
idea of the lore,
and what are the privileges of being Elden Lord? What are the benefits? Why do you want to be Elden Lord?
it kind of depends on which version of the Elden Ring rune, what master rune you're going to use.
I already regret
at
asking.
the end when you heal the shattered Elden Ring.
I see.
That'll determine what kind of age you usher in, but we'll get to that later. Okay, so just to give you guys a snippet of the lore, the game begins with a very exciting cinematic, and we're going to watch that now, and we'll take a brief break, listeners, and we'll come back. Okay, and we're back, guys. We just watched the opening cinematic video of Elden Ring, and I feel that probably cleared everything up, but you might have a few questions. Thoughts, reactions?
That didn't explain anything to me, and it was really long. At first, I was going to make fun of it. You said it was very cinematic, and it's literally just panning across a bunch of sort of paintings
So
while
are you
a
saying
man
that
talks
Ken
very
Burns
slowly.
is not cinematic?
Yeah, I am actually. But you know what?
Ken Burns' Elden Ring documentary would be incredible.
I can't wait to see his 17-part Elden Ring documentary. Yeah,
I gotta say, I do actually. I was thinking about it. I do prefer that to like interminable cutscenes where people talk to one another. Honestly, so
I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of those in the game, right?
Yeah.
Not really. No, that's
really?
one of the things about the Dark Souls games. They don't actually have that many little cutscenes or animated sequences.
Yeah, but I didn't. The lore did not. The lore was not illuminated for me.
So here's what I think. Here's what I think I understand from it. There's a thing called the Elden Ring.
Mm-hmm.
It got broken somehow. Bad happened, and the queen disappeared. There's a place called the Lands Between, which you are either from or going to, and the Elden Ring is either from it or went to it. And there's
a
these
lot of
guys
bad
who
guys have parts of it.
There's a bunch of guys they mention in the end who are either fellow champions or bosses you'll be up against, or helpers on your quest.
I mean, they seem pretty evil. Like one of them was like the Dung Master or something like that.
The loathsome dung eater. Yeah.
The loathsome dung. I see, but you never know. That could be like the hero in the fantasy novel who goes from lowest to highest. Or as Spike Lee would have it, highest to lowest.
Yep. So I think it's time for us to take a deep dive and unpack this. I will point out that
I'm worried that we're going to try to dive deep and it won't be that deep, and it'll be like it'll be like in the Bugs Bunny cartoons when he's going to dive from a high platform into a glass of water.
Yeah.
I will say that I think this cinematic's very funny because it plays and introduces a lot of character names.
Yeah.
And a lot of those characters you don't meet until you've played the game for like 20 hours or something. And you're like, you have long forgotten this opening cinematic. So it doesn't. But having
Gold
watched
Mask.
it.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I've been waiting for you.
Running into all-knowing Gold Mask is pretty exciting. Now, the thing is that having played the game a couple times, I've only done 2 full playthroughs, put in about 200 hours. Okay, I'm not going to go into my build, everybody. We're not going to worry about that, but I might talk about it.
Elliot, do you want to like maybe shift some of your making fun of me for my free time to Stuart at this point?
I think I'll have to. Yeah, at this point.
Okay, we'll just put a few chips over there.
That's about what 8 or 9 days straight of playing this game of just free time
which
to wander around.
Straight, ignoring everything.
In a pile of his own sick.
I was the
waste.
loathsome dung eater in this case.
I was literally saying to it was my birthday recently, and my wife and I went to dinner, and at dinner she was talking about a friend's coworker who has some hobby, and I was like, I wish. That'd be amazing to have the time for a hobby, like a thing you do that is not work related. That sounds amazing. So, Stuart,
95% of Elliot's complaints are user error. Elliot's choices in his life have slowed him. Like he's like,
to be fair, one of the big current choice I feel like was based on false information. But I think you're right. If the user error in choosing my personal career and family structure.
Over becoming Elden Lord? Yeah.
Yes.
You fucked up, dog.
I mean, nobody told me, 12 years ago that that the other choice was to be Elden Lord. Yeah.
It's weird too because I'm like super unsuccessful and don't get anything done in my days either. So let's go on. Okay. So
I mean, the difference I guess too is that when you die, that's just it. You just turn to dust. Whereas I will have left a legacy in chromosomes that will continue on.
Sure. Yeah, because this world's lasting a long time.
Yeah, and you'll peer out from behind his eyes like the end of Being John Malkovich.
Similar.
Anyway, I don't want to get into it. Just how often you get a hug from Elden Ring is something that we can talk about. But.
I mean, I'll also point out that our world is similar to the worlds presented in games.
I apologize. It's more fun to make fun of Dan for his free time. Anyway,
and similar to our world is similar to Elden Ring and the worlds of Dark Souls in that we exist in a empire that is decaying and crumbling, almost like a massive mausoleum in which we have to fight and scrape our way to survive. So,
is that a thing in Elden Ring that you're in a massive mausoleum, or is that just metaphor?
The general design of everything almost feels like you're in a massive graveyard.
Okay.
So I will also point out that I actually really enjoy. You guys were Dan was commenting on how slow the narrator reads, but I actually kind of love it. And this guy goes hard as hell in some of these in some of the line deliveries, like when he describes, he says, "Arise, ye tarnished," and when he mentions Sir Gideon Ofnir, the All-Knowing, and I'm like, this dude just blasted in his pants.
I have never wanted so much to have a Zubin Parang 2 times speed.
No way. I think
then
here's
blast extra fast.
Here's my feeling about this. I love I don't always love to read in depth or experience fantasy nonsense stuff, but I love the concepts of fantasy nonsense stuff. And if you're going to do it, you got to do it all out. You want a guy reading it. I think you did a great job.
You don't want somebody winking at you the whole time. You want somebody who's like, "This is my fucking."
The drama
when you have to say "Arise, ye tarnished," you want it to feel like he's telling the tarnished to arise.
You can have a bunch of drama at a normal speaking rate.
I don't think you can. It's supposed to be epic and mythic.
Okay, so
they talked slower then.
So let us get into the lore of Elden Ring. Dan, can you please share the screen so you guys can see the images in this PowerPoint I've crafted?
Stuart has a PowerPoint that he's sharing.
I will say, I feel like I've learned maybe 0.1% of what there is to know about Elden Ring.
Oh boy, a drop in the bucket. And honestly, I will say before I get into this, there is a good chance that somebody listening to this will be more of an expert and I will get things wrong. Please save any critiques to tell, I don't know, your mom or someone else, because I don't care about it. I'm doing my best here, folks. I think, slideshow, perfect. And I can advance this. Okay, so here's my PowerPoint. So you want to become the Elden Lord. Who's who and what's what in the lands between. Okay,
what are the lands between? What are they between?
Elliot, you got to our first point. The lands between. Here, presented here. The lands between is the realm, the world that you explore. So this is a world that is kind of crumbling. You have evidence of fallen empires. It's like a kind of a classic medieval fantasy world that it has a lot of different types of environments. This is a world that you can explore as your character, and it's all looked over by. And by the way, there's a lot of information here. If you guys could just keep your questions for the end, that'd be really helpful.
I'm sure there'll be.
That won't be hard for us.
Yeah. So
So Dan, Stu, what's that tree?
That comes to our second point, Elliot. The world is, at all points you can see kind of central to the world is this massive glowing tree called the Erd tree. This is kind of like an embodiment of I think the greater will, I think is the term that they use. The greater will is kind of like a divine entity or divine feeling that exists kind of outside of the world of the game.
Okay, so what are the worlds between?
So the lands between is an interesting name in that it's kind of I don't really know what the lands between refers to. Obviously, somebody can chime in.
I mean, it sounds cool. It sounds super cool.
It's a cool name, but this is.
But is it between downtown and the Arts District, or is it between like a big parking lot and like a state park?
I think it does refer to the fact that it's physically between things. I think it's separated from other lands that are not touched on within the course of the game.
Is it between the California Pizza Kitchen and the Lens Crafters at the
I think
mall?
It's a slightly larger amount of space because this is actually a pretty sprawling game.
It's like the non-aliens in the fourth Indiana Jones. It's the space between spaces.
Yes, it's a lot like that. So that's the Erd tree. Now, the Erd tree, you're probably you're like, you're talking about arid trees, lands between.
I sure am.
What's the whole deal with the Elden Ring? So the Elden Ring refers to long ago at a undesignated specific time.
The only thing that worries me is
will-
that Stuart has not progressed from this slide to another slide this entire time, which makes me worry
Or
about the length
past
of the
his
presentation.
first note card.
I'm on the third note card.
So tell us
Okay.
about the Elden Ring. Yeah.
So the greater will sent a like a weird beast referred to as the Elden Beast to the planet. Now, the lands between is often visited by creatures that come from like the stars and land in like meteors. And the Elden Beast is one of those things. And upon arriving, it transformed to become the Elden Ring, which actually I forgot to get a good image of, but you can see it if you look at the box art of the game.
This helps me out a lot because every time you say Elden Ring, and I apologize, this is just my frame of reference.
Oh yeah, that's the urge.
Every time I hear Elden Ring, and this is just my frame of reference, I think it's referring to Eldon, the character played by Robert Pastorelli on Murphy Brown, the house painter who was kind of sarcastic and maybe there was some romantic tension.
So it'd be like one of his rings, so sort of like a big like Ringo Starr kind of like flashy ring.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Ringo Starr was named after all the rings he had.
I think he might have been, because he was born with a handful of rings, and that's how they knew he was the right-born drummer of the Beatles.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, I think that whoever gave the other Marx Brothers their names also named Ringo.
That was, I believe, Art Fisher was the one who gave the Marx Brothers their names.
Okay, so the Elden Ring is this kind of like golden rune, okay? It's got like prongs and rings and various shapes that kind of make it up. And those various runes that make up this greater rune, the Elden Ring, those form the basis of the laws of this universe, okay, as designated by the greater will. Now, the greater will, of course, they have elected a god. The god queen in this case is Queen Marika the Eternal, once a shaman queen raised up to godhood, anointed by the two fingers. Now, Queen Marika
the what?
I'll get there in a second.
Okay.
Now, Queen Marika took the Elden Ring and she manipulated. Now, Queen Marika is an important figure in the world of Elden Ring because she's kind of the chief deity. But she is absent in the game. You see statues of her,
much like God in real life.
Much like God in real life,
or Dan
in real life. Yeah, I'm about to leave.
Now Queen Marika took which does sound, I think, suspiciously a lot like somebody just saying America without the A.
Yeah, it does.
I think that's a specific choice.
It sounds like the way George W. Bush would say it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Queen Marika took the Elden Ring and she manipulated it, removing the rune of death, so that her demigod offspring, and other people within the lands between would not truly die. And the repercussions will follow.
Instead, they just stay in Congress forever. It is like America, yeah.
So, as I said, Marika was anointed by the two fingers, which are represented in the world by two massive fingers.
Okay. Hold on, you're moving a little too fast for me.
It's kind of hard to see.
This picture is sort of baffling.
They're also... Yeah, you can see dead versions of the two fingers.
They're like two giant
they're two massive fingers. Yeah, duh. I said
who do they belong
fingers.
to?
So that's the thing. They are emissaries of the greater will. They share the greater will with the rest of the world. However, they actually don't speak. So that has to be interpreted by finger-reading crones and finger maidens who interpret what the fingers are saying. Now,
like Batman co-creator Bill Finger?
Yes. Now, unfortunately, the connection the fingers had to the greater will was severed long ago. So they don't actually, what they are saying may or may not be true.
So even the fingers are kind of faking it till they make it.
Yeah. Yes. In this universe, is finger licking good?
There's a shocking amount of finger-related stuff that happens in this game.
It was originally called Finger Ring. And they said, we can't name the game that. We can't name the game Finger Ring.
It's called hardcore fingering.
It's called Elden Ring. What do rings go on? That's right, fingers.
Oh, no, you're right. It all connects.
Okay, so as
belly
Queen
buttons,
Marika...
noses, ears...
penises even.
Penises or scrotums, yeah.
As Marika was raised up to godhood, she began...
Let's hear it for Rings, everybody, and their versatile body placement. Good job, Rings. You said fingers aren't enough for me. I got to see what else is out there. And you colonize the body.
So as Queen Marika was raised up and began her golden order, that is her lineage of demigods.
And she is she supposed to be seen as a benevolent deity or a malevolent deity?
Well, that's the thing. She's generally presented as a benevolent deity, but there are some who question how benevolent she really is. And when you look at her actions, as I will describe, you will see that perhaps maybe she's a little more complicated.
Because everything you're describing sounds bad to me. Yeah.
So she began her golden order, and in order to do that, she needed to conquer the rest of the world to make sure that they would fall into her age of order. And for that...
Again, this is what the villain usually does.
For that, she enlisted the aid of a barbarian chieftain, Horalu, who was a battle-thirsty maniac who was able to temper his battle lust by bonding with Sarosh, a white lion creature that for some reason made him less bestial and violent.
Because the white lion creature in the picture looks very violent, looks ready to strike. Yeah,
sort of spectral too.
But for some reason, it keeps him back.
He's got this long, thick, braided beard, and you know that in the heat of battle, that thing's getting filled with viscera and blood, and it would be so hard to clean. It seems disgusting. But here it looks snowy white.
Thematically, I think it would also make sense that perhaps Sarosh was kind of a vessel for him to pour his own battle lust. So he was able to separate that part of his soul into this kind of semi-separate creature. But
as in the
it's not clear.
Classic comedy film, Pardon My Sarosh.
So by bonding and becoming less of a battle monster, Horalu adopted the new name Godfrey.
Battle beast.
Yep, it is a battle beast, and it looks like Battle Beast from Invincible. He changed his name to Godfrey, and he became the first consort of Queen Marika, and thus earned the title Elden Lord. Of course, he's the first Elden Lord. Yep.
Okay.
And they begat a line of demigod children, the first of which were twins, Morgoth and Moog.
And they don't have heads.
As you can see, they look a little bit weird. They do have heads, but they're like covered in horns because they bear the curse of being omens. Omens are people who have been born with this curse. They're inflicted with horns growing out of themselves. When amongst commoners, those horns might just be cut off, but amongst nobles, those children are ostracized and in this case, hidden from the public and stuck in the subterranean shunning grounds.
And when do you play the game?
No, we're not there yet. Okay, so that's Morgoth and Moog. They also had, not pictured, they had a third child, Godfrey, Godwin the Golden. Okay. Who I think you heard mentioned in that opening cinematic.
And they formed a family singing group.
Now, they began a series of crusades to pacify the lands between and force them under the heel of this golden order. One of the chieftains, one of the leaders of this, was a fellow god, Radagon, presented here. Now,
that's what you use to get your rads away. I use it myself. It works great. Yeah.
I mean, I 100% think that's an item in Fallout, Radagon.
Oh, okay.
So Radagon, interesting. This is going to be a spoiler. Again, a lot of this is going to be spoilers, but I feel like, again, it's not really going to affect your love of the game. So Radagon was
nothing could.
How could you affect what isn't there?
Radagon was a red-haired warrior prince, and he's set to fight and defeat a kingdom of sorcerers in Liurnia, led by a lineage and school of Carian sorcerers. And
so those are sorcerers that you don't eat at the restaurant. You take them away. The Carian sorcerers, yeah.
Exactly. And they fought to a standstill, and of course they decided to broker a peace with a marriage between Radagon and Queen Renala. Now, interestingly, Radagon...
Is this a mini?
You're using that word loosely.
Interestingly, Radagon is actually just another version of Queen Marika. Marika and Radagon are the same person. So
Okay.
it's kind of a weird thing, but it's not unlike, typical mythology of gods changing genders and who they are, etc.
Sure.
But nobody else knows this. This is a secret that Radagon and Marika are the same person.
Reminds me of the story of when Tiresias, the blind prophet, changed gender, and when Tyrese, the male model, became a blind prophet.
And was very active on Twitter. I remember there was a period where he was like being everybody's friend on Twitter.
Yeah, there was that scene in Oedipus Rex where he goes to Tyrese for help in unraveling the mystery, and Tyrese gets in touch with him on Twitter. Is like, "Dog, you don't want to understand. You don't want to know this, Oedipus. Just leave it alone. Yeah, leave it alone, Eddie." But he didn't listen.
So by brokering peace with a marriage, they were able to bring Renala's glintstone sorcery into the Golden Order, which is very important. And you're going to see, I'm going to show you an example of a glintstone sorcerer who have to wear these specialized masks. And I think you're going to recognize something that we're going to be talking about later when we talk about Zardoz. That's right. That's what they wear these helmets that kind of look like Zardoz heads.
Yeah, it's like a stone. Like king face with long curls and a beard. It does look like Zardoz.
Kind of a sadder, cuter Zardoz, though.
Yeah, the Zardoz mask, that's because when we're recording this episode tonight, we will be doing our Flop TV episode on Zardoz. We'll talk about that more later if we ever get to the ad portion of this very good regular length mini. But it does look like that. It looks like, sad kind of it looks like Zardoz's brother who's like, ugh, why does Zardoz have to make such a big deal out of everything?
Now, before we talk about the lineage that is begat by Radagon and Renala, I think this is actually a really good. I think right now is a perfect time for us to talk a little bit about our sponsors. So the Flophouse today is brought to you by Factor. That's right. We all need to eat, folks, and Factor is one of the
folks.
God. Let me change this.
Yeah, Stuart's
folks,
all about long pig these days. Yeah.
Folks, we all need to eat.
Wait, the folks are what we all need to eat?
Okay. It's an important thing to understand that the Factor, our sponsors, in no way endorse cannibalism, which is suggested by my two co-hosts and I guess me.
Yeah.
So eating well is an important...
That's the Factor promise. You will not find any human meat inside of their products.
Eating well during the holidays is important. Food is an important part of the holidays. And also, it can be easy to get caught up with doing your holiday shopping and activities, and you lose track of time and it's hard to do your shopping. Well, Factor provides chef-prepped, dietitian-approved meals that can help you stay balanced and energized throughout this complicated time. Unlike meal kits that require prep and cooking, Factor delivers fully prepared, ready-to-eat meals in just 2 minutes. Choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp, at no extra cost. And for the first time, try Asian-inspired meals with bold flavors influenced by China, Thailand, and more. Think savory Korean beef bowls or Thai-style coconut curry, a refreshing break from traditional holiday fare. So, Factor is a big deal. I know that Elliott's family is constantly fighting over who gets which Factor meal.
Yeah.
My wife Charlene is very bad at finding the time to have lunch, and Factor provides something that I can easily give her and send her out the door with, so she'll get some kind of nutrition in the middle of the day. So, if you want to be like us and you want to eat smart, go to factormeals.com/flop50off and use code FLOP50off to get 50% off your first box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code FLOP50off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box, plus free breakfast for a year. This exclusive holiday offer won't last, so lock in your savings before the New Year rush. Offer is only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase.
And we are sponsored in part by Quince. Quince, which is not just a pear-like fruit that you usually eat in jam form. It's also a clothing company. And you know what you're going to need when it's cold outside? Clothes. It's one of the top ways to keep your body warm.
We were not blessed with fur the way that the animals were, so we got to add it ourselves.
Elliot,
you're blessed with a fair amount of fur.
I'm blessed with the closest thing you can get, which is a thick layer of Semitic hair all over me. Yeah.
Cold mornings and holiday
I
plans.
also release my glands also release a grease that also traps the heat in and keeps the cold out. Yeah.
Cold mornings and holiday plans, they both call for wardrobe that will, keep you looking sharp and keep you feeling good and keeping you warm. From Mongolian cashmere sweaters to Italian wool coats, Quince pieces are crafted from premium materials and built to hold up without the luxury markup. As I said, go into the cold season, you might be into some outerwear. They got a lot of great stuff: down jackets, wool top coats, and leather styles built to last. And each piece is made from premium materials by trusted factories that meet rigorous standards for craftsmanship and ethical production. By cutting out the middleman, which adds markups, Quince delivers the same quality as luxury brands at a fraction of the price. I got some Quince stuff. I have a nice charcoal sweater, cashmere sweater. I have a shirt, a deep navy dress shirt that I just wore to a party recently. These are nice pieces. So get your wardrobe sorted and your gift list handled with Quince. Don't wait. Go to quince.com/flop for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada, too. That is QUINCE.com/flop. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/flop.
The Flophouse has a few things to announce of its own because the Flophouse is also brought to you by the Flophouse. We are recording this on Saturday, December 6th. So if you're listening to this live, have somehow tapping into our phone lines or internet connections, you will know that tonight we are having Flop TV. The first Saturday in every month through February is Flop TV, the televised 1-hour video version of the Flophouse. Tonight we're talking about Zardoz. When this episode comes out, you can still watch that episode because if you buy a ticket, you get access to the recording of the show, and those recordings are going to stay up online through the end of February, so you can watch them as many times as you want. This season, it's Flopsterpiece Theater. That's right. Season 3 is when we're pulling out all the stops. We are watching the greatest flops or the most legendary flops or the most talked about flops of each decade. So, well, not necessarily of each decade, but you know what I'm talking about. So for the 2000s, that was represented in September by The Adventures of Pluto Nash. In October, it was Jack Frost with Michael Keaton. In November, it was Xanadu. December, it's Zardoz. And then get ready, in January, it's going to be Dr. Dolittle, the Rex Harrison one, the one that almost destroyed a studio. And then in February, Plan 9 from Outer Space, perhaps the most famous bad movie of them all. Go to theflophouse.simpletix.com to pick up tickets. Remember, it's the first Saturday of every month at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. If you can't watch during that time, you can watch the recording, like I said, at your leisure, whenever you want, how many times as you want, until the end of February. So that's Flop TV Season 3. This season, we're becoming more and more professional. It's really bonkers. We got a lot more videos. We got a lot more presentational elements.
I learned how to roller skate.
Yeah, Stuart learned how to roller skate in the Xanadu episode. So it's becoming more and more like a real television show, and I think you're going to enjoy it. That's theflophouse.simpletix.com. Now, if it's not enough for you that you get to watch us on your computer or television screens, you want to see us in person, and you live in the Bay Area of Northern California, why, you're in luck, because following up on our successful, sold-out, right? I think so. Shows in Chicago.
Yeah, I think so.
We're doing another live show in January. We will be appearing live in person on Sunday, January 25th in the afternoon, so you can still get a good bedtime afterwards at Cobb's Comedy Club, once again as part of San Francisco Sketch Fest. We have had so much fun at Cobb's for San Francisco Sketch Fest in the past. We're very excited to be coming back to do another show with them. Dan, Stuart, is it okay if I announce what movie we're going to be talking about on this episode?
It's not only okay, I would encourage you to do so.
Yeah, fuck it up.
One of the movies we've been asked to do the most, I feel like, in my experience talking to fans. That's right. On Sunday, January 25th, at Cobb's Comedy Club as part of San Francisco Sketch Fest, we will be talking about Master of Disguise, starring Dana Carvey as the titular Master of Disguise. It's the one where he looks like a big turtle man in one scene. If you don't know the movie, you know the turtle man
one
scene. I think it's just one scene. I don't think it's the second half of the movie. So
I mean, if it had been the whole movie, this would be the most successful movie ever, rather than a forgotten comedy.
You have to believe it. So that's Master of Disguise, talked about by us on Sunday, January 25th in San Francisco, live in person at Cobb's Comedy Club as part of San Francisco Sketch Fest. Thank you so much again, Sketchfest, for having us. Go to sfsketchfest.com and then just click on the schedule and tickets link so you get tickets for us on January 25th, Sunday at Cobb's Comedy Club in 2026. And I also have two personal things I'd like to mention. I have, of course, my book,
We
Joke
got all the
Farming,
time in the world.
How to Write Comedy and Other Nonsense. It's in bookstores now, or you can buy it from a website or something. But I would advise you to go to your local independent bookstore and get it through them. It's How to Write Comedy, how I write it, how jokes work. I think I like it. I hope people like it too.
Yeah.
And also, of course, Harley Quinn from DC Comics. I'm still writing that every month. Go to your local comic book store. Say, make mine Harley Quinn when Ellie Kalin's writing it.
Yeah.
If you like too many podcasts, you'll love Soundheap with John Luke Roberts. It's got clips from all your favourite podcasts, such as Diary of a Tiny CEO,
Leonard Sprague, tell me how you make your money.
I go to the beach and I steal people's towels.
Remember Armour,
Do you remember the trend of everyone whacking themselves on the head with hammers and mallets when they wanted to lose weight?
and Elty John's Lobberly Songs.
I'm here today with Kiki D. Hello, Kiki D.
Hello, Elton.
There's dozens of episodes to catch up on, and brand new episodes going out right now. So, if you want far, far, far too many podcasts, then look for Soundheap on Maximum Fun. Boop boop.
Guys, should we go back to the fascinating, some would say almost too interesting world of Elden Ring?
Let's travel through the fog and return to the lands between, gentlemen. So as I was talking, we are about
Lands between gentlemen.
We are about to get to the lineage. And these are some important figures. This is the lineage of Radagon and Renala. Of course, their eldest child is Praetor Rykard, presented here. A warrior, a lawmaker, an important individual. Their second child, even more important, that's right, Star Scourge Radon, a warrior without peer.
The Scourge of the Stars.
In fact, he is. He has gravitational powers so vast that the stars stop spinning. The heavens... he holds the heavens in check out of fear.
Now, wouldn't that really fuck up everything else around if you could have that kind of gravitational power?
Kind of does,
Okay.
yeah. But so that's
It's
that's
a magic
Radon.
fantasy world. Who knows?
Yeah, again, it's a myth. Consider this all a myth. So that's Star Scourge Radon and their
I'll
youngest
consider it
child.
less than a myth. I'll consider it the backstory for a video game.
And their youngest child,
was
of
really
course,
hoping that Madeline Kahn would show up.
Lunar Princess Ronnie, pictured here.
Look at that hat.
A mysterious figure with a really cool hat.
It's like an urban sombrero that's so big, it's a megalopolis sombrero.
Yeah, that's like 3 Pharrell hats.
Okay, so
That's the standard unit of hat measurement.
Yeah.
So
The
meanwhile,
Pharrell.
it's not all just having kids. America is continuing her crusades against the other peoples in the
So how
lands
far
between
into the game
and
are
beyond. We haven't even started yet.
Okay.
So of course, interestingly, some of the worst actions in these wars happened in her home. Wait.
Oh.
That's right, the Shadow Realm, the lands that she comes from, under the Skadu tree, which I think means shadow tree. I'm not sure.
I
The
don't know. It
Skadu tree,
sounds
which
like
is like a dark mirror of the Aird tree.
It sounds like a ragtime novelty hit under
Yeah.
the Skadu tree.
And she
I kissed
had-
you, and what did we see? Sitting under the Skadu tree. That kind of stuff, yeah.
So these crusades seem to be to both hide the origins and how she attained her godhood, but also to subjugate the Horn-sent people. And to do that, she enlisted the aid of her son. That's right, Mesmer. Mesmer
I
and
love
his abyssal
Stuart's
serpent.
habit of saying, that's right. We're gonna
We all
be like,
know
oh, yeah.
We all love him. There he is.
Mesmer. And like all of her children, he bears a curse. One of his eyes doesn't work or something, and he's bound to an abyssal serpent.
Now, in this picture, is he standing on a table that the
Yes.
drippy candles are on, or is he?
Yes.
Or they put drippy candles on the floor. It's a table.
No, that's on the table, but there's probably drippy candles on the floor too. This picture is taken inside of Mesmer's at the
Taken?
upper story.
photograph.
This photograph was taken at the upper story of his like menagerie. He has this kind of amazing menagerie in his fortress in the Shadow Realm.
Sure.
Okay, so let's.
Looks cool.
And in addition, during these crusades, also, America sent Godfrey and his armies, her consort, her Elden Lord,
Yeah,
to
with
a
the lion.
faraway land And in doing so, she did to them what she did to many of her enemies. She stripped them of grace, so they no longer had the glow of the greater will.
Why'd she
With
do
the
that?
promise, well, that's a good question, Elliot. With the promise that upon dying for her in this conflict, they would return and their grace would be returned.
Oh, so it's
some
a
kind
motivator.
Of a motivator, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But in doing so,
It's
this
her
also
version
meant
of that we get a pizza party on Friday if we hit these sales figures. Yeah.
and these figures, this army, including her former consort, Godfrey, became the first of the tarnished people that were stripped of grace.
It's just sort of like ASMR for me because in that there's sort of noises.
That's actually
kind
what
of
this
relaxing,
podcast.
but
It is
that's what this
ASMR.
podcast does for a lot of people.
It is
Yeah,
a
it's true.
silly mythic retelling. ASMR.
So this, of course, left America without an Elden Lord, without a consort. So, of course, she had to marry Radagon herself. Radagon had to absolve his marriage to Rennala, which she was not happy about.
Of course
and
not.
then Marika married Radagon, and they had another line of children, in this
Great.
case, the twins.
Tell us about all of them.
Melania, a swordswoman without peer. However, she is cursed
Oh, she's the
with
first
a
lady right
scarlet
now, isn't
rot.
she?
Yep.
Melania, yeah, kind of. And
That sword is too long. I'm just going to say it. We're all thinking it. I'm
Oh,
going to
man.
say it.
Yes,
That's how I feel when I fucking fight her.
It's less of a sword than a fishing pole. Yeah.
Yeah.
And her twin, Mikola, the kindly one,
Oh.
Mikola, whose curse is to always
I'm more
remain
familiar
a
with
child.
Mikola Light.
Yeah.
Well, she seems to be radiating some kind of light. So.
Yeah.
Mikola is a he in this case.
Okay.
Oh.
Although, it's questionable. Mikola is a child with golden hair and has whereas his twin, Melania, is a swordswoman without peer. Mikola has the ability to make all those
Nicola is
near
also
him
a
to
swordsman
love him.
without peer.
And his ability to make people love him makes him, in some ways, the most terrifying of all.
Sure.
Okay, so that is the twins. Now,
I feel like it is an indictment of the kind of person you expect to spend 200 hours playing a video game that they're like, what's the most dangerous thing of all? Love.
I also want
forced
to
love.
note for the
Yeah.
listeners at home, Ellie's disgusted look when I cackled creepily before.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
And,
I didn't
and
like
when he suggested 200 hours playing a video game.
it. Too much.
Okay, so the stage is now set.
Another
sure is.
too-big sword.
At some undesignated time, Lunar Princess Rani stole shards of the Rune of Death, handed them out to her assassins, and they used that to kill Godwyn the Golden, one of the children of Marika. And Marika then, when realizing that all of her efforts to prevent death from infecting her children had come to naught, out of anger, she shattered the Elden Ring
Oh, no.
and disappeared. And the Elden Ring now shattered. Her offspring then fought over the shards to grab pieces of it so that they themselves could have a little bit of divinity, a little bit of that power. And that led to a great war known as the Shattering, where demigod and sibling fought each other with their various armies. Tearing the land to pieces. Pictured here, we see Melania, the blade of Mikola, battling Star Scourge Radahn in the swamps of Aeonia. And it is in the aftermath of this great war, that we enter the game as a tarnished champion.
Finally.
A champion, a tarnished of no renown and no background.
Okay.
Will this tarnished become Elden Lord? We shall see. Now,
If you win the game.
the world that you enter is a difficult one. Lands like Limgrave.
We're not done?
Limgrave, where you begin the game, is your more traditional is your more traditional fantasy setting, and Stormvale Castle is your first major obstacle. In Stormvale, you have to defeat the least of Marika's descendants, the least powerful, the smallest, of course, Godric the Grafted, a weak man who sought power by grafting limbs and body parts from other people to make him more powerful.
Well, he can carry that big axe. It's made him stronger for that.
Further on, we have Kaled, which bears the scars of Melania and Radahn's battles, scarred by the scarlet rot residing within Melania that has poisoned the land and the people that live there, including Starscourge Radahn, who has been so horribly infected by the scarlet rot that he now rides around on his, it looks like dead horse that he
so
continues support. It's this tiny horse.
It looks
that
like a regular
dead,
man riding a chihuahua.
that he like animates and keeps supported through his gravity powers. And he wanders the battlefields, devouring the corpses of
Now,
foe and
before
friend
you had
alike.
to
Yes, go on.
support this horse through his gravity powers. Was it still that small? He was that
I
big?
can only assume. It's a pretty cool horse.
So, I mean, that horse was praying for death because he had to carry this enormous guy on his back. You know?
And side note, this is one of the great boss fights in the game, is fighting Starscourge Radahn. Of course, further on in Mount Gelmir, where Praetor Rykard fought the capital, it is now a corruption of his lofty ideals and is now is filled with funeral pyres and judgment poles and things like that. Rykard himself,
Kelly Reichardt.
himself,
He's busy directing First Cow. Not
has
part of the
allowed
game.
himself to be devoured by the god-devouring serpent, thus becoming one with that serpent in an attempt to devour all the other gods and become the greatest of all. Pictured here, you can see he's like a weird snake man with a weird snake
He's like in
face.
the later Dune books, you know.
Yes, a lot like the later Dune books. Now, Praetor Rykard refers to himself as the Lord of Blasphemy. Further on in Leyendell, the capital, it bears the
I feel like
scars
that's the
of
kind of thing
multiple
somebody
sieges.
who throws really big parties would call himself in a moment of grandeur.
I
you
mean,
know?
certainly sounds like a fucking cool X-Men villain. Leyendell, the capital, is in ruins, although there seems to be some kind of hidden force controlling everything, a veiled monarch, if you will. And stolen from his Heilig tree, Miquella's cocoon is now missing. Absconded by whom? But is that just his physical self? Because Miquella's spirit travels the Shadow Realm,
Now what?
seeking
Wait, so
some form of godhood. Go on.
This is a cocoon because it looks like a big risotto ball. So it's a cocoon
Does.
of
Yeah,
some
it's a
type.
cocoon. And you can see Miquella's twisted little arm kind of sticking
I
out
see.
of that.
And the throne that looks like a human pelvis.
It does look like a human pelvis. I mean, that it makes sense. It makes sense if when you in the game.
If ever you wanted to see a giant risotto ball on a human pelvis in a kind of space acropolis, this is the
branch-looking arm sticking out of it.
sticking out, going with its fist raised, like
Now,
way to go.
having listed the foes that you are to fight, these demigods who bear the shards of the Elden Ring that you need to attain if you want to approach the
Do I
air
need
tree
to?
and declare yourself Elden Lord. You have allies, that's right.
Oh, good.
A mysterious woman, a mysterious maiden named Melina approaches you with designs of her own.
So she's
even
asking the
though-
question. I see the subtitles as, have you heard of the Finger Maidens? Which
Yeah.
that seems like a website that
I
children should
have
not
heard
be
of
allowed
the
to go
Finger
to.
Maidens.
Because you, a lowly tarnished of no renown, began the game maidenless.
Oh.
So she offers to serve the role of Finger Maiden, as a tarnished champion is often accompanied by a Finger Maiden to guide them on their quest of grace.
It sounds like someone who remembers that The Handmaiden was based on Fingersmith and just like mix it all up.
Yeah. And in addition, there's a grouping of other tarnished champions who reside or meet in a place called the Round Table Hold, a
That's an original
council
idea.
of council
A round
of
table
champions,
with like knights around it.
uh-huh,
Who would have
like
thought
cool-
of such a thing?
And this is a place where of course the other tarnished they have a vow of peace where they will not fight each other, and all of them serve as either allies or inevitably into some
alligators.
form of form of enemies. There's betrayals and other exciting things. All this leads into your quest to become the Elden Lord, and depending on how you kind of deal with the various allies in your world, it will determine kind of what age, what runes you're going to use and what age you usher in upon ascending the throne. Will it be an age of order or an age of dung-eaterness? Who knows? It's very exciting stuff.
Now, what would that entail, Stuart? An age of dung-eaterness?
Well, the Dung Eater is just trying to corrupt the entire world. So it's an age of corruption. So he ushers in an age where all children are born as horrible, twisted omens with horns growing everywhere.
And all children eat dung.
In a way, the idea
they
of the Dung
kinda
Eater,
do.
the Dung Eater's an interesting figure because he is easily the worst villain in the game. And you're like, is it just because he eats poop? Well, it's part of the idea is that in some Japanese mythology, the soul resides within the anus. So what he's doing is he's literally corrupting the souls of these of his
If
victims.
I was a soul, that's certainly where I'd hang out. That certainly seems like a prime position in the human body.
Well, it's a safe place to hide because no one's looking in there, you know?
Yeah, it's in the sub basement, basically. Yeah.
So, guys, we have
It's
reached.
like when they're in the Death Star in Star Wars and they go to the trash compactor room to get out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now that we've reached the end of Stuart's lore wrap-up of Elden Ring, how do you guys feel? Are you guys excited about a movie adaptation? Does it make sense for an easy movie adaptation?
I completely forgot that we were talking about a movie adaptation.
I mean, it might be the only way that I retain any of the stuff that was just told to me. My lifelong learning has continued today, Stuart, with you, you presenting the seminar on a thing that
Sharing
I
the
don't
thing
need.
I love.
I don't need to know about. I've already forgotten.
I mean, but what do you need to know about, really? I think.
Well, there's certain things.
I think
I'll say that putting together this little lore wrap up in PowerPoint made me want to play the game again.
I'll say this.
$200.
I'm curious about the movie. Alex Garland is an interesting choice for something like this. It makes me wonder what the style or the focus will be of it. But it really does run the risk of doing what happens to a lot of fantasy stuff when it becomes adapted into films, which is that whatever is special about it that the fans like gets drained. It reminds me of that Dark Tower movie that we watched years ago for the Fathers, where I was like, now I want to read the Dark Tower books because I got to see what's in them that this movie didn't have. What kind of spark of inspiration or excitement or whatever, So
I mean, Stuart, I like Alex Garland more consistently than you, but I think if there is someone who maybe will keep the weirdness in and will make it a priority to keep the weirdness in, it seems like it would be him, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, certainly Annihilation, while not
not a direct adaptation.
It's still very weird, and even and Men has let's say some weirdness to it.
But I think there's my worry would be that it might lose a certain legibility. I think that I think one of the things that is so successful about, like, for instance, the Lord of the Rings movies, and the Lord of the Rings story is not as outwardly weird or bonkers in some ways, is what an amazing job Peter Jackson does of keeping the audience focused on who are the heroes and what is their story, and all the world building that happens around it is in service to that, as opposed to later in the Hobbit movies where it feels like he kind of gets sidetracked somewhat. And I worry that a movie of this will feel like a 2.5 hour version of the presentation you just gave to us, Stuart, where it's a lot of names and a lot of references to things, but there's not a lot of blood there, let's say.
And this
not a lot
also
of feeling,
suggests like a common video game problem to me, where like this is not true of all modern video games. Like there are some that like I think make the main character more of a distinct character, but like a lot of them, like the main character is to some degree a void for you to project yourself onto, and that's a problem then if you're making a movie where you need a compelling center.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, and
usually
I
they
think-
just pick like a young apprentice or something, or someone who doesn't fit in with the others and has to prove themselves. I mean, they go to one of those,
It's interesting because the central character is kind of a void. You obviously make some choices in it, but it's not like you're having conversations. You never hear the voice of your character. You're never choosing conversation options. So it is like a thing where it's like, it feels, I use the term myth, and obviously I'm not saying it has the same level of complexity of something like Greek mythology or something. But the idea is that the story kind of works more in that vein, which I don't know if it necessarily will work as a movie with like real stuff, because it is like, it's not like, it doesn't feel like you're walking around a world that is like populated with like villages and people and stuff, like people have to live.
Yeah.
It's rather this feeling of like, this is this hero's quest traveling through a ravaged world. And you're not worrying necessarily so much about the like nuts and bolts of like the how
What's
of
the
it.
economy of this place?
Yeah, I mean, there's, and I feel like it works best.
Is the Trade
when you're-
Federation angry about the taxation of outlying routes?
But like, I think it works best when you're dealing with these like big ideas and like big like passions and personalities, rather than like the nitty gritty of the realness of the world, I guess.
Yes, I agree. I think that there can be a mistaken apprehension that a world is all you need for a story, you know? And certainly I've had projects where they're always like, world building, we got to do the world building. What's the world we're building? And it's like, you don't really, to be honest, you don't need to build that much of the world so much as you need to build the characters. And then you got to show what elements of the worlds are important to their story rather than spending a lot of time explaining junk, you know? And it's it feels like a lot of times video games, when they're adapted the same way you'd try to adapt a book, when really you want to do it the same way that they adapted like Pirates of the Caribbean into a movie, where they're like, we got to come up with a story that fits into this world of pirates. And they were like, and the smartest thing they did with that was the two things of, as much as Johnny Depp is a problematic figure, that they were like, let's let Johnny Depp's character be a funny figure, like a charismatic funny figure, rather than a kind of bland hero, and not necessarily make him the center of it. But also, let's add like skeletons and ghosts into it, which is not part of the original Pirates of the Caribbean ride. And so I wonder, maybe Alex Garland is the type of person where they can be like, okay, well, here's the world of Elden Ring. Now, what am I going to introduce in it that is an interesting story or that makes use of that world to connect with an audience some way, as opposed to like, I feel like there was that World of Warcraft movie from years ago where it was like,
we did that?
We talked about it for a long time.
We talked about it a lot. We never did it. But where it was like, what I've seen of it, it's like, oh, okay, like there's just not really interesting stuff going on. But you know, or like the opposite of what they did with the Minecraft movie, where there's a version of the Minecraft movie that is a serious movie about the Minecraft world, and I think they understood. They're like, there's no story here. Like there's nothing going on here. Let's just do like a goofy, crazy thing. And I remember I talked to somebody I work with, and they were like, ugh, they just had Jack Black do whatever he wanted and be silly. And I was like, yeah, that was the exact right move, because there's nothing there otherwise. You know, it's bring these people in and don't take it seriously. So maybe the Elden Ring movie will be really funny. I don't know. Maybe they just won't take it. It'll be like a Holy Grail type thing, you know?
And now that Dan was just showing off his new fancy mouse, I think he's ready to play some fucking Elden Ring here. Let's fire it up, Dan. Let's download that. Don't forget to also buy the DLC.
I guess there goes the rest of the day before Flop TV.
What's a DLC?
Day. It's going to be at least 8 days. So this has been a Flophouse Mini. Thank you so much for listening to me spout nonsense that I spent way too much time both playing and researching.
God bless you, sir.
Yeah. This has been really fun. I like getting to share silly stuff that I think is cool with my friends. We are part of the Maximum Fun podcast network, and there's a lot of other silly fun shows on there, so you could check them out and support them. This show has been lovingly edited and listened to multiple times, I'm sure, by Alex Smith, our producer, who is known as Howl Dottie on the internet. He makes music. He does all kinds of great stuff. He
hangs out with a possum.
Hangs out with a possum. He is an avid twitcher. I think that's the term.
So you should go check out. He's an avid witcher.
Oh, he witches. He does not have the ponytail for that, sir. So for the Flophouse, I have been Stuart Wellington.
I've been Dan McCoy.
I've been Elliot Kalin, and I can't wait to have the 200 hours to play Elden Ring.
You should. Bye.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows.
supported
directly
by you.